After signing successive agreements, free trade agreements with countries like UAE and Australia, on 10th of March, India signed a free trade agreement with EFTA nations. This free trade agreement has been coined as Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement, TEPA. Under this TEPA, India is poised to receive $100 billion worth of investment in the next 10 to 15 years. Hi friends, this is Satish from Satish Speaks on Global Trade and Geopolitics, powered by NAVATIES, an international trade and engagement platform. Now, why did EFTA nations sign an agreement with India? This goes back to last 16 years. 21 rounds of discussions have happened and they were not reaching to any level. However, when India signed ACTA with Australia, it gave them the push that if Australia can take decisions at a very fast rate, then why not India? Why not EFTA nations? And that is when they started pushing to sign an agreement with India. And our Honorable Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal, being Piyush Goyal, takes up any opportunity and pushes into closures. And not only him, the whole team in the Commerce Ministry are always pushed and equipped in order to execute such kind of activities. So with this TEPA, India is bound to gain a lot of opportunities. But let's first understand what is these EFTA nations. EFTA nations are nothing but European Free Trade Association. It's an association of 4 countries, namely Switzerland, Norway, Iceland and Liechtenstein. These 4 nations are not part of the European Union. They are the 4 countries which are out of the European Union, but out of these 4, 3 of them are again part of a much larger association called as the EEA, European Economic Area. Now these countries, let's try to get an understanding of some of the concepts about these countries, what they do, where they are and what are the opportunities. Now let's read out some of the stats. First, let's take up Switzerland. Switzerland is actually an Western European nation, and it is actually, if you call it as, it could be considered as heart of Europe. Switzerland has a GDP of 905 billion, out of which $402 billion are of exports and imports of $356 billion. Switzerland primary industries are financial institutions, cheese, watches, chocolates and a variety of activities. World's biggest set of banking systems are there in Switzerland. That's why people talk about Swiss money. The second country is Norway. Norway is in the Nordic region, also defined by the Nordic Council. They are much near to the Arctic Ocean. Norway, its GDP is about $546 billion, out of which and their exports is about $271 billion and imports is about $107 billion. Norway's predominant industries are petroleum, fisheries and forestry. Next comes Iceland. Iceland is again part of the Nordic Council and part of the Nordic region. Iceland is its GDP is $30 billion with exports of $7 billion and imports of $9 billion. Iceland's primary industries are fishing and manufacturing. Iceland manufactures a lot of aluminum. Finally, coming to Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein is a small principality just in the midst of Switzerland on one side and Austria on another side. It is not a big nation. It has a GDP of about $6.8 billion and it is predominantly dependent upon Switzerland for a variety of activities, and most of their trade happens within the EU. So we may not be able to judge their export and import activities. Now, Liechtenstein's primary industries are basic agriculture and industries. but other than that, they don't have much activities around that. Now, understanding these four nations, okay, what is that we can achieve from these activities? Now, let's try to get a feel of under this free trade agreement what all opportunities are given. Now, free trade agreements are signed in order to generate more opportunities in trade between two countries. When a free trade agreement is signed, they reduce taxes, duties, sometimes it is even up to 0% as well. Sometimes it is directly from 0 or sometimes it is reduced to 0 over a period of 5 years to 8 years. With this, because there are no duties, there are no taxes, the opportunities to trade between two countries or two regions, two blocks increases. So, what is the speciality of this FTA, this free trade agreement, TEPA? First, this TEPA covers about 95% of goods of India. It covers about 98% of Norwegian products, exports and imports, and 99% of Switzerland exports and imports. So, which means there are a lot of products which has been engaged between them. If you see, the total agreements goes up to 2,800 pages. This is by far the largest free trade agreement that India has signed with any country. Now, what are the opportunities that this is going to bring in? This free trade agreement, under the free trade agreement, these EFTA nations are going to invest about $100 billion in the next 10 to 15 years. So basically, the first $50 billion is invested in the first 10 years, and the next $50 billion are invested in the next 5 years. How can they invest $100 billion? Let's look at it. Switzerland is one of the financial hubs of the world. Switzerland is also one of the 7th largest investors in US. So they have good amount of money and opportunities for them to invest into India. And secondly, Norway, as I mentioned, is petroleum is there. So they are very well in their trade balance. So this is what is going to generate the opportunity. Now let's talk about agriculture. Agriculture has been kept away from this activity because agriculture is a very sensitive subject, and agriculture and especially the dairy segment. Now Swiss cheese wants to enter India, but India's dairy industry is not going to let that happen. And India also cannot enter the Swiss because the Swiss farmers are also wary about this activity. And if you see nowadays, there is a lot of concerns and problems that's happening. There are farmer processes that's happening in both India as well as in the European region. So to be on the safer side, they have kept agriculture out of this region. Then if so, then what else can be done? Services sector. There's a good amount of opportunities that has been given for the services sector, especially financial services, audiovisual services, technological services and tech services, healthcare services. There are huge amount of opportunities that has been evolved in this. Why? See, if you look at these nations are very high in Human Development Index and very high in innovation. So they come out with a lot of opportunities, patents, innovations, and which they want to manufacture. However, with their countries being very small in number of population or in terms of area, they cannot manufacture in a way that India can do so. So what will happen is they are going to outsource those activities, the services, technology transfers, and they are going to manufacture in India and generate that opportunity not only for Indian markets, not only for their market, but also for the world. So there are huge amount of opportunities that are going to come up because of this. Now, special considerations has been given in the sustainable development levels. Okay, so SDGs. And so under the ESG, environmental, sustainable and governance, they are going to, significant amount of activities are going to come in, like hydro energy, hydrogen energy, our solar energy, EV, so on and so forth. So a lot of opportunities are going to come in the ESG sector, which means Indian companies are supposed to align themselves for a lot of ESG activities. So these countries will make sure that Indians are also going to get aligned to the ESG initiatives, and companies who are going to work with these countries and engage with these countries are also ESG compliant. Then under the cooperation, there are variety of activities that's going to come in terms of global value chains, skill development, intellectual property, knowledge transfer services, science, telemedicine, STEM, healthcare, biotechnology, digital technology, clean energy, and sustainable metal making. So variety of industries has been identified, but still activities has to be worked on. As I mentioned, it is about 2,800 pages of document. And when it comes to merchandise and goods, there are indications that opportunities will be there in textile industry, processed food items, building and construction, that is the infrastructure segments, leather products and chemical products. So opportunities are going to be there and variety of support can be given. If you want to know more about what are the opportunities, where to look at this document, I'm going to give the link in the description of the video. You can have a download the EFTA TEPA agreement, free trade agreement from the link and generate. However, if you want to also understand what are the opportunities that you can generate, what are the opportunities for your products and your services for in these countries, you can always register into NAVATIES and get access to those information and analytics that can help you access that site of information, and you plan what is that you can do in that. Before we end this, I would like to request you to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon and give your comment. Your comments are very important for us to make better videos and prepare it for a better understanding of the global trade and geopolitics. Until next, this is Satish Kota signing off. Stay safe, stay healthy and explore global markets. Thank you and bye.